Merry Christmas and welcome to Storytime with Cozy Malka. This holiday season, we'll be sharing stories of generosity, responsibility, and compassion. As we gather round, let's put on our listening ears as we read special holiday tales together. Today is When Santa Was a Baby by Linda Bailey and Genevieve Gata. So without further ado, let's find a cozy spot, grab a friend like Haoa here, and enjoy a great holiday story. When Santa was a baby, he was soft and round and cuddly, and his parents thought he was wonderful. Look at those dimples, said his dad. How merry. And his dear little nose, said his mom, like a cherry. Kitchy kitchy goo, they said together and waited for Santa to make a baby sound. A sweet little gurgle, a gentle coo. Ho, 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 boomed baby Santa in a voice that rattled the windows. Oh my, said his parents, leaping back. What was that? Little Santa smiled his first smile. His parents were thrilled. He doesn't have the usual baby voice, said his dad, but it's good and strong, isn't it? It's special, said his mom, just like him. I like how even the teddy bear looks surprised. And the pacifier, for that matter. The years went by and Santa grew older. He began to learn his colors. Right from the start, he liked red best. What about these dandy blue pajamas from Aunt Mabel, said his mom. Santa shook his head. Want red. Of course you do, said his dad, but blue is nice too. Want red, said little Santa. His parents put the blue pajamas in a drawer. Maybe he'll be a firefighter, said his mom. On his next birthday, Santa got a beautiful red fire truck from his mom and dad. He got a rocking horse from Grandma, a puzzle from Uncle Ned, and a pair of yellow pajamas from Aunt Mabel. She likes to give pajamas, doesn't she? Blue and then yellow, which are not his colors. What a lovely time Santa had opening his presents. He had an even lovelier time wrapping them up again and putting them in a sack. What's he doing? Asked his mom. Beats me, said his dad. They watched in amazement as Santa rode down the street, giving away his presents to all the boys and girls. Did you see anything like it? Said Santa's mom. His dad shook his head. What a generous child. I think it looks like the teddy bear is giving out the present here. That's really cute. On his next birthday, Santa asked for a horse. Well, it wasn't exactly a horse. He said it was like a horse, except it had horns and could pull a flying sled. His parents didn't understand, so they asked him to draw it. Do you think it's a unicorn? Said Santa's dad, scratching his head. A unicorn, said his mom. Now, where are we supposed to get one of those? They got him a hamster instead. It was a female hamster, and soon it had 8 babies. When they grew big enough, Santa harnessed them with ribbons to a matchbox. He put tiny presents in the matchbox and trained the hamsters to pull it around the house. Listen, said his mom, he's calling them by name. Jasher, said Santa, and Dancer, and Comet, and, Blixen, no, Vixen. Extraordinary, said Santa's dad. He's so creative, said his mom. Santa was an unusual child in many ways. For one thing, he didn't like warm weather. When the other children were running around in the hot summer sun, little Santa stayed inside waiting for the fridge door to open. We can't keep it open all the time, said his mom. Think of the electric bills. You're right, sighed his dad, but it makes him so happy. Santa also had an odd interest in chimneys. What do you suppose he's looking at? Asked his dad. His clothes are all covered in ashes and soot. We can wash them, said his mom. Isn't it great that he's so curious? Maybe he'll be a scientist, said his dad. Santa's best friend lived right next door. His name is Eldred. Eldred was smaller than Santa, but in other ways they were very much alike. They both enjoyed making things, especially toys. And Eldred loved green, almost as much as Santa loved red. What a jolly pair, said Santa's mom. So nice to have a friend, said Santa's dad. As Santa grew older, it became clear he'd inherited the family's good looks. Goodness, said Santa's mom, just look at your bellies. They match. Like 2 bowls full of jelly, said Santa's dad. Ha ha ha. Tee hee hee, said Santa's mom. Ho ho ho, boomed Santa. When Santa became a teenager, he continued to be unusual. He knew his own mind. He didn't always fit in with the crowd, but his parents thought he was wonderful. I like how he's bringing a sack even to school and his boots. Who needs a backpack when you can have a sack? As for the rest of the story, well, you can probably guess. Santa followed his childhood dreams. He moved to the North Pole, where it's very cold. He built a toy-making workshop and brought in a crew of elves to help. He got a big, beautiful sleigh and trained 8 reindeer to pull it, not hamsters, thankfully. And once a year, he travels around the world, climbing down chimneys to leave gifts for boys and girls. His parents are so proud they could burst. Every Christmas Eve, they listen for his sleigh bells. They wave and blow kisses as Santa dips low over their house. It's what we'd always thought he'd do, said his mom. We knew it all the time, said his dad. And what do you think Santa says to that? Ho, ho, ho! You know, the most important part of this story is that Santa was always himself, that he, for most people, was a little strange, was a little bit abnormal, like he brought a sack to school instead of a backpack, but he never faltered in who he was, and his parents supported him, and what was important to them was that he was a good person, and they didn't mind that he might have been a little different from the other kids. So, what are some ways that you might be a little bit different from your neighbors or from your classmates? We look forward to hearing from you, and we'll see you next time for another great story.